we'll be covering during this. I'm going to be talking about the program itself, our structure, and also some of the requirements that we need when working with colleges out in Andhra Pradesh as well. And then at the end, we'll take some questions about the program. So this is the framework that I'd like to cover, and we'll go into detail on each of these as I go through, but I primarily want to talk about the venture development process and how we would be working with some selected colleges in this pilot phase. We're going to be calling the venture development centers to implement our new idea venture development process, as well as in some engagement in learning modules. So let me talk about how that works. The idea is we're hopefully looking forward to working with all of you, but in the pilot we'll be starting with I think 5 selected colleges. The colleges are going to be adding or bringing us, I think, 100 students each, so about 500 students in the initial stage going through our prep modules. I'll talk about those in a minute. And the prep modules are kind of business basics that we'll be covering with the students. And after those are completed, 50 from each of the colleges, so a total of 250 students, will enter into the program officially, which would launch in December, and would be taken through a series of what we're calling our entrepreneurship core modules as they begin the new idea venture accelerator process. And hopefully by the end of that, we'll have ventures that are ready to launch. Not all the students may be ready at that stage, but hopefully through the 6-month period, this would be by around May, that we'll have taken the teams through this and started to help frame out what those ventures are going to look like. And the last thing I'd like to cover in my presentation is going to be how we move from assessing the environment there in Andhra Pradesh and how to begin building out or developing what you already have as your entrepreneurship ecosystem, but potentially adding some important components to it. This is all based on a process that we've been doing here at Northeastern for about 7 years and been working with other institutions to help understand where their ecosystem is and how to enhance it. And that includes building out entrepreneurship clubs, center of excellence, really importantly building up the mentor and investor networks and making connections to industry that are in and around your area. So that's part of the process that we'll be working with. So we have the student engagement process, which is really the entrepreneurship, so our learning modules. We have the venture development, venture accelerator, new idea process, where they'll actually start to work, take that education and apply it to their own ventures. And then as an institution, we'll work with the other colleges and the participating venture development centers there to build out the ecosystem. So that's the overall plan over the next 12 months. So let me get started with the first step, which are the prep modules. The prep modules are basic concepts. We want to make sure that all the students who are coming in, we don't know kind of the extent of all their education. So we're going to bring in and do some basic concept building, business concept building in the first 2 or 3 months starting around September. These topics include what is entrepreneurship and team building and the important aspects of team building. There'll be a writing and oral communications program. The programs that are asterisks would be those that are going to be locally sourced, and the others are going to be delivered by Northeastern. The oral communication is really important because throughout the process there's a large amount of interaction in what we'll call peer group reviews, as well as interacting with coaches and mentors throughout the process. So those are going to be important to kind of focus on how these kinds of written and oral communications work within the venture process. There's going to be some intro to marketing and digital and content marketing and management, an introduction to accounting course, We'll be using a freeware there that the students will have to complete that has an exam as part of it. Also, we'll be working locally with a group to focus on how do we do rapid prototyping with some exercises there. And then finally, before we get into the actual venture development process, we'll go through with the students overview of what they're going to be learning and kind of how this entire program works. All right. Once they've completed that, so as I said, we'll have 500 total students, we hope, initially 100 from each of the VDCs that will be participating, so the colleges there would complete this. We'll have an assessment that will take the top 50 from each college into the actual formal program, where they'll start with the core learning modules. So the way this is going to work, and I'll talk a little bit about the modules first, and then I'd like to talk about how we're going to engage in kind of the teaching model next. Each of these modules are online, either video or some version of video with some homework, assignments, templates that the students will be using throughout the process, and then engaging with the coaches throughout the process as well. And the way the modules work is there's anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 components for each module. The student would complete one of those components, and at the end of that component, there's going to be a homework assignment or an activity that they have to go off and do. So you wouldn't be doing these in a rapid sequential fashion. It's following the module, executing the homework or the activity, having it reviewed, and then coming back and doing the next step. We're going to go through, we have about at least nine modules right now. We'll be delivering over 10 hours of content. Venture ideation, how do we come up with an idea? How do you validate those ideas to make sure they're solid and worth working on? Looking at marketing competitive intelligence. What's our competition? What are they doing in the market? What's the opportunity? Market sizing. Intellectual property questions and things that may need to be looked at and trying to kind of secure an advantage in the area that you're pursuing. Customer discovery, this is really looking at the needs and the available market size. Our solution design, business model design, and the different ways that a venture can go to market, both from their business model and a subset of revenue models that they'll be looking at. Early stage financing, understanding what a P&L and cash flow means to a venture, completing a business plan, designing and delivering an investor pitch, and then finally raising money in India. So these topics will be, as I said, delivered sequentially through the program for the students who are coming in. And as they get to each stage, so as they go from their idea to looking at the market and understanding what the customers want, they'll be completing activities throughout. So let me talk a little bit about how these really get delivered. Excuse me. This is really self-paced learning modules. We will have a timeline. We only have 6 months for this entire program to be completed, but the modules are self-paced. What we're going to be doing throughout is as they go through a particular component and are ready to review it, we'd be having peer reviews. So this would be other members in the program who they will read out their report to, and the peers will have a set of questions that we'll be providing to ensure that they're checking kind of what that particular component should be covering. And then as they get through the process into what we'll call the stage gates, and I'll show you those in a second, the mentors and coaches who are becoming from the colleges and who are becoming from the program coordinators would be reviewing the progress of those students at each of these stage gates. So there's a series of interactive discussions where the students are learning about how they're applying those modules to their idea. And then there's a supporting textbook that was written by Professor Mark Meyer on venturing that will be available and supporting the students throughout the process as well. So there's quite a series of interactions primarily between students and themselves. So we really value student engagement, and also with the coaches and mentors who are identified at each of the participants. Excuse me. And we find this to be a very important iterative process throughout. What will be happening is the coaches and mentors will be identified. A set of those will be coming to Boston here where we're located to explore and examine how that works here on our campus. We'll take them through the modules as well as the different stage gate review meetings that we have to give each of the colleges an idea of what to expect and how it works. And then we'll be coming to Andhra Pradesh in the early winter to take some of the additional coaches and mentors through the modules as well before we kick off the formal program in December. So the New Idea Venture Accelerator, we've been doing this for about, like I said, about 7 years. It's an interesting process. We call Ready, Set, Go, and then we work with launched programs. Again, we have the text identified there, venturing. It's an iterative process. We have in fact, here at Northeastern, it's interesting. This process is entirely run by students. So we don't have any, our coaches are students. We have mentors, which are not students, who get involved during the pitches. But the center itself, our incubator itself, is managed and run by students. We like the idea of that because it really forces them to engage in a very different way. And it also forces and encourages communication of the program across the campus. So we end up, even though we have only 22,000 students, we have 500 students who are actually in the business school who are focused on entrepreneurship specifically as a degree. But we have an additional 2,000 students across the other colleges who participate in our accelerator. And I think at any point in time right now we have about 300 businesses that are in our accelerator at any point in time. So it's a very active and successful model by encouraging the students to engage and drive the communications and the interest and excitement about entrepreneurship throughout the college. So again, we have coaches that are involved in with methods and worksheets that you'll be provided. Your coaches and mentors will be taught and coached on. And then there'll be interest mentors which we use that are assigned to the ventures depending on the specific arena or industry that they're targeting to help with specific coaching on needs and issues inside of those industries. At each of the stages, we have a pitch. So we have our ready, set, and go. And each of these stages is when additional interaction with the coaches and mentors there in the program would review the success of those or the status of those by the students and then approve whether they can move forward or not. And if they can't move forward, there's specific feedback that's given to the students, to their ventures, as to what's missing. Maybe they haven't validated the market effectively, or perhaps their solution design isn't unique. Maybe it's too easy to copy by competition, or so on. So we'd be giving specific feedback at each of these as they go through the process. All right, so that's up through the actual venture accelerator. It's really exciting to watch this happen. If I know some of you may have some progress in your accelerators to date, but what we've seen is the minute we've given and built the ecosystem around the students to support their ventures, their engagement and the way they drive their initiatives becomes very exciting and can lead to some success, which I'll talk about in a minute. All right, so as we look at the VDC, so these are going to be the participants who are will be selecting for the pilot, and hopefully several of you. There are some things that we do look for so that we can support the program. Having some video conferencing capabilities with internet connectivity, accommodating probably up to 100 students. This would be for potentially having some web conferences with the key faculty or program directors here. Any kind of other activities or initiatives that might go on to help inspire and drive the students forward. Having a large seminar to hold, potentially up to 500 participants. This is for speaker series, so as we build the ecosystem, one of the things that the Entrepreneurship Club does is engage in getting local, famous, or successful entrepreneurs to come and talk a bit about how they've been able to do what they've done. And so that would rotate through the participating colleges, and so we'd have to have facilities to accommodate those, including audio-visual and so on. Collaboration rooms, these are where teams can actually break out and work as they're engaged in their activities, or they might have coaching sessions here, different things that are going to go on throughout the 6 months to engage the students throughout the learning modules and throughout the Venture Accelerator process. And finally, some space for the program manager and coordinators who are both APSSDC resources as well as college resources to drive the program, and coaches. And again, accommodating visitors, whether they're ventures or visiting faculty as we come and visit, to see how you all are doing as you get through the implementation, to be made available for those. So those are some of the physical requirements that we'll be needing as we roll out the program. Deputy manager and coordinator reports to the program management coordinator. So in terms of resources, the resource, every program manager and coordinator is going to be traveling to Boston for the training. There's specific technical support staff as needed. So as we build out the facilities, and in particular the components that require some technical support, we'd have to have there. And then hopefully maker space and whatnot as students, depending on the type of ventures that they're going to be driving, if there's product that's involved, physical product, being able to do some rapid prototyping and potentially even doing some short production run tests would be nice to have. So those are some things we'll look for in the infrastructure of the participants for the VDC. All right, I want to give you an idea. So I've talked about ecosystem, and I want to give you an idea of what ecosystem means here in Boston for Northeastern University, and how we've built this up. But I think an important thing is going to be as we assess your environment, some of your support may not come from your college, depending on the capabilities you have there. But I'm going to go through some of the things that we've done, and then we, as we assess your environment, would look to identify potentially internal sources or external sources to help you with your ecosystem. So, if you haven't been an entrepreneur, and I've started 3 different companies, and you don't do it as an individual, it's always a team, and you need a lot of support around you. We have IDEA, which is our Venture Accelerator. But we also do a few other things. We have our Entrepreneurs Club. This is really the beginning of engagement by the students. A student thinks they may be interested in entrepreneurship, but they don't know what it means. We would get them into the Entrepreneurs Club. Our Entrepreneurs Club today hosts about 1,000 students and is extraordinarily active. They do things like the speaker series. They visit other startups. They have dinners or lunches with top entrepreneurs from around the U.S. To come in and talk to them about kind of their own personal experiences through entrepreneurship. We have an IP lab called IP Co-Lab, and this is where we get support from law school on developing things like contracts and understanding potential patent opportunities and understanding our intellectual property, so they support our ventures. Scout is the College of Arts, Media, and Design, where they're helping with logos, help with our communication plans, and so on. If we have software that needs to be written, then we reach out to our Northeastern IO group to help with getting some resources for developing initial software prototypes. We have some specific industry groups like the biotech entrepreneurs, which specifically focus on biotech ventures, and accounting resources where, again, business plans and the financial plans, if we don't have those capabilities on our team, we'd reach out to those as well. So this is part of the world of ecosystems. Now, if you don't have these colleges on your campus, we would look for support resources in the area, maybe small professional groups that exist that like to support ventures and so on, and we would look to have those in your ecosystem or build those in your ecosystem over time. And this is a really important part of the overall New Idea program, is building the ecosystem so that we can ensure the success of the teams, ensuring we can bring those skills and capabilities to the teams when they need it. So it's a really important part of the ecosystem. The last part that's also really important to the ecosystem is having a venture mentor network. And Chris will be working with you specifically. He's part of our network, and he'd be working with Pradesh specifically to identify mentors. Those are going to be folks who have industry affiliations to work with the ventures as they get into the final stage of the Accelerator program. These guys have specific expertise, whether specific industry or specific product or technology knowledge that can help the venture teams build out their business plan and build out their model as they're looking to go forward and potentially raise money. Really important. We've grown ours to about 150 formal mentors. I'm a mentor as well. My background's in enterprise software and go-to-market strategies, and so I spend time with those kinds of ventures as they come into our network. So again, the ecosystem is extraordinarily important. Just building a venture accelerator isn't enough. We found that, and as we've worked with a lot of institutions around the world, we see that they typically will build the building and build the accelerator and even have a process based on one of the business planning processes that are out there, but they don't have an ecosystem model that really enables the ventures to be successful. That's a big difference in what we try to do. Here at Northeastern, we've had pretty significant impact. Currently, we have 224 ventures in the ready stage, 58 ventures in the set stage, and 63 in the go stage. We've launched 46 with $76 million of investment. So it's a very active program. And if you come here, for those who get the chance, you'll see that our venture accelerator is not very big. Students are out in the market. They're out doing their work and engaging externally, and so we've built a small, very mobile type of environment that allows them, when they need to be here, come in, meet with coaches, meet with mentors, and use the other facilities that are available on campus. So it doesn't, we're kind of build the process and ecosystem first. The space can follow as necessary, and we can find that on campus. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've been able to do. We've had two extraordinarily successful ventures that have come through here, many very successful, but CloudBlock was recently acquired by Cisco. It's a cybersecurity software platform, and was started by some Northeastern graduate students. They came through Northeastern, and the idea kind of germinated as they were in their grad entrepreneurship program. And we have both undergraduate and graduate programs as well. They were acquired by Cisco for $293 million earlier this year, and is a core to Cisco's cyber security strategy. Silver Rail is a very interesting program in Europe. If you've ever traveled in Europe, you may have found that going from one country to the next required you, when you were scheduling your train tickets, to go to a different website or a different location to actually book your tickets. So students, again, graduate students here at Northeastern identified the opportunity, created a platform that allowed you to buy your tickets through one single source. They were recently acquired by Expedia and Travel Giant for about $300 million as well. So two very successful groups that have rolled out through our program. And finally, we have Amino Apps, which is a relatively new venture. They're some undergraduate students. They're building out consumer platforms, and these are kind of social groups that form under a common interest. They've got several million users right now, and have actually recently raised $27 million in venture capital to build out this particular platform. So we have a wide range of programs that have come through here, including things like new types of foods and so on. So as you look at your college and your programs, we try to focus on the technology, new technologies, new innovations that are going to drive and hopefully have platform uses that are going to drive success for a venture. Each of you would need to figure out kind of what is the specialty that potentially your school can drive.
Regarding this initiative with NU. And I would like to say to Greg that we are very excited to partner with Northeastern University, and looking forward to host you during August.
Great. I look forward to it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.